At it again, and we got to talk about what MSNBC recently said on national television. It is absolutely insane, and it will make your jaw drop. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. And they call us the extremists, but I'm going to have a lot to say in this video. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive into this craziness. Ooh.
And as we barrel toward a likely rematch of the 2020 election, one candidate continues to have a hold over white rural voters. But it's not Joe Biden, seen here as a boy on the right side of your screen who went to public school, is the son of a used car salesman, and was born to a middle-class family in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Instead, it is Trump here on the left side, a private school educated son of a New York City real estate tycoon who became a millionaire at 8 years old and didn't have to serve because he claimed.
Hold on. So it's a negative for him to have been born into a family that had a little bit of cash? That's a negative? So, like, none of us are supposed to strive for anything to pass it on to the people coming behind us, because people like you and your dishonest network are going to look at it and categorize it and label it as something negative, because our parents, or we as parents, worked hard for the people that are coming behind us, so they had something so that they didn't have to start what we started. That's all of a sudden a negative thing now, huh? All of a sudden this terrible thing, oh, he came from a family with money. Well, maybe you should be talking to your parents. Maybe you should sit down with your parents and ask them why they ain't had no cash for you too. If that's the case, I'm just saying. Like, I don't understand. What's the problem here? Oh, I know what the problem is. It's because it was Donald Trump. Yeah, of course. But let's continue. I wonder if she's gonna have that narrative for George Soros' son. I wonder if she'll say that about his son. Oh, well, your dad, George, he had so much money, he just passed it on to you. You didn't have to work for anything. I wonder if she'll say that about his son. Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. But let's continue.
He had bone spurs in his little feet. So why is it that Trump appeals so much to a group he couldn't be more different from? Joining us now, professor of political science at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, Tom Schaller, and journalist and opinion writer Paul Waldman. Their new book, out tomorrow, is entitled White Rural Rage: The Threat to American Democracy. And
Yeah. White Rural Rage: A Threat to American Democracy. That's the title of the book. So I'm sure you guys can guess where this one is going. And you know, it's funny that that's being stated by a panel of white people, which is also kind of weird, but I'm going to get into that later. Let's continue.
Tom, we'll start with you. Why are white rural voters a threat to democracy at this point? You would think, as we pointed out, looking at Joe Biden's background and Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this, so we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribe.
That's a lie. And I'll say this. Anybody that's ever lived in the hood, you know, amongst other black folks from the hood, listen back to what he just said. We all know that's not true. Every single one of us knows that is not true. I ain't even got to say what part of it isn't true. But if you were born in the hood and lived in the hood, we all know what he said isn't the whole truth and nothing but the truth. We all know it. But that's the narrative that they want to push. Goodness gracious. It's laughable. Like, that's a blatant lie. The most? Nah. Not by a long shot. They've never been to the hood before. They've never polled the hood before, nor will they ever poll the hood. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't do that. Absolutely not. First off, people probably wouldn't respond. And second, they wouldn't dare step foot in the hood. Absolutely not. They'd get ran off the block, if not robbed beforehand. Goodness gracious.
Election denialism, COVID denialism in scientific country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third,
Hillary was actually the one that started the Obama situation. Do I have something on my shirt? What in the world? Saw it on the camera. I was like, what in the world is that on my shirt? But Hillary Clinton was the one that started the Obama thing. And a lot of these conspiracy theories, we've been proven right on. Case in point, y'all remember they told us the Hunter laptop story was Russian disinformation. It was fake news and MAGA extremists were spreading a lie. Oh. oh, yeah, we all remember that, don't we? Mm-hmm. They told us the laptop didn't exist. Even Joe Biden said it didn't exist. And we were right the entire time. See? Load of crap.
Democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally without any.
So they don't believe in free speech? That sounds like Democrats to me. You know, the ones that have censored anything and everything. The ones that tell us that we can't say certain things. That ain't the right, censoring that type of stuff. Last time I checked. That's a lie. What have Republicans said that you can't say? Nothing. Nothing. Democrats say you can't say a lot. Try again. Try again. Goodness gracious.
Sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally without any checks from Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly.
Oh, you mean like Joe Biden did with student loan debt when the Supreme Court told him that he couldn't do it and he did it anyway? Oh, it's okay if Democrats do it, but if Republicans even think about doing it, like you're saying right here, oh, it's a big problem. Yeah. All right.
Or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalist and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence as an acceptable alternative to peaceful public discourse.
So you mentioned
excuse or justify violence. The only instance. Ooh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Let's go. Let's go today. Let's go today. I got time today. The only instance of violence that they have from the right is J6. That is all they have. And they say that during J6, they were trying to take over the government. Yeah, I highly doubt you could take over the most powerful military on this planet just by breaking into a building. Not going to happen. You're not going to convince me that could possibly. We have nukes the size of cars. And you mean to tell me some people with no guns are going to take over our government by running into a building? What? Even Joe Biden himself said you're going to need F-16s. Joe Biden, those are Joe Biden's words. Now, I don't think he said an F-16. He said a fighter jet, right? He named the specific fighter jet. It might have been F-16. I don't remember. He named a specific fighter jet when referencing what someone would need to fight against a government, because he was doing a speech that pertained to taking away our weapons, right? So even Joe Biden said that. So again, what? Beyond that, give me all of these instances of, right-wing extremists being these violent individuals. Because I can give you all types of instances of Democrats being violent. We all know the famous one. Look at the BLM riots. Burning and the looting of buildings, establishments, bricks through people's front windows. Yeah, this is on videotape too, by the way. On video. Y'all, matter of fact, I'll bring up a recent one. Y'all remember when Democrat voters went to the DNC headquarters, or campaign headquarters, I believe it was, and they were all outside rioting, trying to destroy the building? Y'all remember that? They don't want to talk about that though. They don't want to talk about that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hold on. Should I pull up? Should I pull up the video? Nah, I can't. I can't show that because that's violence. That's violence. That's real violence. You know, YouTube might slap this joint with the age restriction and everything. Can't show that, but you can easily look it up. But right wing are the violent ones. Y'all remember when Roe v. Wade got overturned? Oh, but the right wing are the violent ones. Y'all remember when Maxine Waters stood outside and said, when you see them out in public, you let them know that they are not welcomed anymore. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when Chuck Schumer said that you will release the whirlwind, Kavanaugh? Y'all remember Chuck? Y'all remember that? But right-wing people are the extremists and the violent ones. Right-wing rural white people are the extremists and violent ones. But I just gave you instances of Democrats being violent and trying to stoke up violence in the case of Maxine Waters and Chuck Schumer. Interesting how that works. Very interesting how that works. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious.
A lot of negative factors about this demographic. Tom, what else do they have in common?
I think that what really matters at
what
this
makes
point
them
in time.
Vulnerable?
Oh, well, a lot of that has to do with, as a starting point, the problems that rural America has, which are very real and very profound. Mm-hmm. They have the more problematic education systems. They have poor infrastructure.
So does the hood. So does the hood.
Had a lack of economic opportunity. We've seen a lot of manufacturing jobs leave from rural areas. And that kind of left them open to someone like Donald Trump, who would come along and tell them something that was true, that there is a system that has not served them well. Mm-hmm. And he...
Oh, so can we say that same thing about the hood too then? Because, I mean, you just described the hood. I'm just saying. He just described the hood. Legit. But of course, you'd never say that, right?
He said
they're pissed off.
They are pissed off, and they have some reason to be with both parties. The trouble is that what Donald Trump gave them was not something that was actually going to fix those problems, but was just a kind of a way to channel their rage and anger. And, we've been told for so long, especially Democrats have been told, that in order to get rural voters, to get them to listen to you, you have to go there, you have to really empathize with them, you have to show them that you understand their lives, you have to, put on a Carhartt jacket and go down to somebody's farm.
Have a beer.
And maybe milk a cow.
Yes.
And it turned out that none of that was true.
No.
When Donald Trump came along, he didn't do any of that stuff. He was just a conduit for their rage, their anger, their resentment. And that turned out to be what they wanted. And it wasn't really about the material conditions of their lives, because he didn't improve their lives. But he got more support in rural areas in 2020 than he had in 2016, despite the fact that none of their problems had gotten any better under him.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Because that's a great point. Because as black folks, when we talk about some of these black cities that, predominantly black cities that are run by Democrats, they haven't really gotten any better. As a matter of fact, a lot of them have gotten worse. Look at Chicago. So are you saying that we should not be voting for the Democrats that we continually vote for? Because those cities haven't gotten any better. The conditions for my black brothers and sisters have not gotten any better. Talk about Memphis. We can talk about Atlanta. We can talk about Baltimore. I mean, when you speak about some of these cities where black people vote heavily in favor of these Democrats and put these Democrats in position to help the community, there is no improvement. It's only downward. So what you're saying is we shouldn't be voting Democrat. What you're saying is, as a country, we should vote for Trump because as a country, we were in a much better position under Trump than we are currently under Biden. Our dollars went further under Trump. Gas prices weren't as high under Trump. Grocery prices weren't as high under Trump. The border wasn't wide open under Trump. We weren't under threat of World War III under Trump. Even amongst all of the fear mongering, Trump's going to lead us into the next disastrous war. He's going to get us into a war. Blah, 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 blah. The constant fear mongering. And it's Biden that has got us on the brink. It's Democrats that have us on the brink. So basically what you're saying here and what you're describing here is the fact that we shouldn't be voting Democrat. We should actually vote Republican. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Great analysis.
All that he gave them was a way to essentially give a big middle finger to Democrats, to people who live in cities, and to the rest of the country.
Isn't he more than a conduit to their rage? Isn't he also a symbol of their aspirations to an extent?
They are, but what are their aspirations? As we write in the
rich.
book, I guess, but they're not getting there, right? Poverty is soaring in between 20.
And why aren't they seeing that?
I think this is the disconnect, right? They'd rather channel their rage. I think what a lot of rural white Americans have decided is that their economic fortunes are decided by globalization and, frankly, late-stage capitalism, which is eating up all the mom-and-pop stores and taking away, the extractive industries and coal and farming and so forth. So they might as well vote on their cultural issues. They might as well vote on God, gun, and religion because they feel like neither party is going to deliver any material benefit. They're not going to reverse the closure of rural pharmacies and rural hospitals and rural healthcare treatment facilities, which are now disappearing, not because of communism and not because of socialism, but because of capitalism, right? Rural pharmacies and hospitals are closing because they're not money makers, and unless they're part of a regional chain, they're disappearing. So Trump comes in and says, let's just hate on cities. Let's just hate on minorities. Let's hate on immigrants, and at least they can deliver on that. And so they're not even voting in their...
Where did Trump say, let's hate on minorities? Where has Trump said that? Where has Trump said, hey, let's hate on minorities, let's hate on black folks, let's hate on this group, let's hate on that group? Where has he said that? Because I can show you where Joe Biden called black kids roaches. I can show you where Joe Biden said Barack Obama is the first clean and articulate mainstream black male. I can show you that video. I can show you that. I can show you the images of Joe Biden cozying up with the K member group. Or a former K member, right? Mr. Bird. I can show you plenty of videos of Donald Trump denouncing that very same group, even though mainstream media claimed that he never did. I can show you a video of before he was even in office. Denouncing any and all of that. I can show you the footage. Show me the footage of Trump saying, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. Show me. I got a video of Joe Biden saying it. It's funny how they push everything that they do onto Trump. Literally everything. Literally. They say that as black people, we have to vote Democrat. We have to. And if we don't, we've been bamboozled. We've been tricked. As if we're not allowed to think for ourselves. Oh, I forgot. That's their roots, right? They think for us. Remember, because Democrats never allowed us to read back in the day as well. They wanted to keep us uneducated. And if we did try to educate ourselves, no. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare. How dare you educate yourself? See? It all comes full circle, doesn't it? I don't see Republicans advocating for segregated graduations. I see Democrats doing it, though. Black-only graduations. That's, by definition, segregation. Isn't that what MLK and some of the people that came before us fought against? And Democrats want to take us back to it. Interesting. Projection. Man, it's one hell of a drug, ain't it? I think Democrats are taking a lot of it. Trying to project what they do onto Republicans and Donald Trump specifically. Crazy how that works. Crazy. But to anyone that wants to refute what I'm saying, feel free. Show me all of this racist stuff that Trump has allegedly done. I know what couple of instances they're always gonna. I mean, it's literally the same two things that they always bring up. Democrats, the same two things. But go ahead. I got answers for those too. I've got even more things with Joe Biden as well. I've got even more. Matter of fact, maybe video coming soon. Stay tuned. Peace and love. I'm out.